there's not any more comments on that. So we're going to move on to main topic number 3. And this is going to be a little bit of an out of left field topic for this channel. And the replay video might not even wind up on one of the Apptrepreneur channels. It might wind up on the Failed Journalist. Who knows? But I definitely was taken a little aback by this, and it does follow a topic we've been, talking about, which is ownership and digital media. Now, and book burning, like digital book burning. And one of the reasons that I really despise Amazon, there's a lot of reasons I do, but one of the things I don't like about Amazon is how they treat art like a commodity. They sell, like in the cases of the booksellers, 50% of the books in the nation, maybe even the world. And whenever Amazon wants to penny squeeze the publisher, they just take their products off the site and until the book publisher agrees to give them more money, which then means the book company is not making enough to run their expenses, but not losing 50% of the nation's sales is a worse position to be in than giving Amazon more money. Now, one person says, well, that means it's worth it to them to deal with Amazon and to keep that deal. Well, no, it is, but it isn't. I mean, they want to have those sales, yes, but under Amazon's terms, they are still being squeezed. Another thing that Amazon does is that they have removed things from their site that they simply don't like. And so when I read an article like this one from Otaku USA magazine, again, this is a little bit of a left topic for us, that Amazon is removing Yen Press and J Novel Club titles, I stop and look and go like, okay, what's going on and what's the implication for this? So let's look at this real quick. So in recent days, it's become apparent that Amazon has been blocking some manga titles from both Yen Press and J Novel Club. By the way, I'm not familiar with J Novel Club, but Yen Press does do manga. They're particularly known for yaoi manga, which is gay manga. So, needless to say, I'm not like a customer of theirs for the most part. I'm not interested in that stuff. But this is still concerning. So anyway, Yen Press tweeted, "Sadly, we have confirmed with Amazon that they have opted to remove our No Game, No Life titles from their platform. Happily, there are other retailers, both physical and digital, that are thrilled to help you support for these titles in the form of cash exchanged for goods." That's what Yen Press said. Now, J Novel Club said, "We verified today that starting July 11th, all books in the series The Greatest Magic Masters Retirement Plan, I Shall Survive Using Potions," which is a manga plus LN, whatever that is, How Not to Summon a Demon Lord, and Clockwork Planet, are no longer available for sale on Amazon Kindle except in Amazon Japan. Now then, the titles in question, of course, are available at other stores and platforms, but the blocking of titles at Amazon has brought about concerns of censorship. Kurt Hassler, the publisher and managing director of Yen Press, gave Otaku USA this statement. "As publishers, we're disappointed whenever it becomes more difficult for books to find their way into the hands of enthusiastic readers. We've received notification last week that some titles had been removed from sale on Amazon. And after reaching out for clarification on the matter, we were informed that a determination had been made that the books did not fall within their global content guidelines." Global content guidelines? What the heck? "While we obviously wish they were still available, making the decision as to what to offer their patrons is obviously the prerogative of the seller." This is true, by the way. "Nevertheless, we're grateful to the fans who have expressed their support and to the many other outlets that continue to make the books readily available." Now, Samuel Pinaski, president and founder of J Novel Club, gave details on his perspective when asked by Otaku USA for a comment. How J Novel Club is handling the listings currently. "The first time something like this happened was the first week of May, where 2 volumes of How Not to Summon a Demon Lord were blocked, and after approximately 3 weeks of repeated emails and phone calls with Amazon with no clear explanation, we attempted to re-upload the 2 books. However, one of them was again blocked a week later, and the other one seems to have been blocked with the rest of the series that was still available on the 11th. Throughout the month of May /June, members of our numbers of our books were set to be blocked, usually with a generic notification that they violated Amazon's content guidelines. They include a link to those, but repeated inquiries about what specific part of the content was in violation would never be specified. Sounds a lot like Uber and eBay, doesn't it? Escalations to supervisor and then support team leader level multiple times over multiple weeks produce 3 to 4 promises of getting things resolved, but in the end, no one at Amazon Kindle Support really even has the capability of talking directly to anyone at Kindle Content Review, which operates as a black box even within Amazon itself. They only respond to email queries, often taking 5 to 9 business days to even respond, and each time produce only by the same template responses. Phone support has, no power to override or obtain any further information from Kindle Content Review, and despite being very upset about the situation, we can only send more email queries to the Kindle Content Review team, which will only reply to us eventually with the same generic emails. The specific wording of the template response is, and people who are sellers on Amazon might say this, will testify that this is what they get. As stated in our guidelines, we reserve the right to determine what we consider to be appropriate, which includes cover images and content within the book. We are unable to elaborate further on specific details regarding our content guidelines beyond what is available here. Which is funny, because if they'd actually, and this is one of the reasons why companies do this, by the way. They do this because if they were to be super specific about something, then they would basically be like a censorship group. They would say, okay, well, if you change this, you can let it back on. And then you're being accused of censorship, which they don't want to be accused of. But by making it super wide and super vague, it also gives them the power to just take things off for whatever reason. They'll say, oh, it violated the guidelines. Which guideline? We can't really tell you, but good luck in figuring it out. So in response to this incident on the 13th, we requested once again that phone support send a ticket to Kindle Content Review. This would be the 10th one, maybe 12th. I expect that tomorrow I will get a template email from Kindle Content Review saying that they are very busy and will look into the issue in 5 to 9 business days. And then the 9 business days, I will get another template email in which states all titles were removed from sale for violating content guidelines with no further information about what guidelines was being violated. I replied to that email requesting more information. I will get the template email listed above, and after will not get a response until I can call phone support to start the cycle again. In other words, if there's a review process that's actually going on, it's a complete black box and the opposite of transparent. Now then, here's what's interesting. The comment actually continues on why he thinks these books were banned. What we think happened. Considering we have never had an issue like this before, early May, and some other evidence, I suspect this is due to the Kindle Content Review black box beginning to rely more heavily on automated systems to detect problematic content. One piece of evidence is that in late April, the time for reviewing submissions became extremely delayed, over a week in some cases, but then suddenly around early May, the review time became much quicker, meaning that they had somehow cleared their backlog. They publicly stated this delay was due to staffing issues due to COVID-19, so my suspicion is that they sped up the process and cut out a significant amount of human checking, relying on some auto recognition system. However, no one at Amazon actually knows what their internal process is except the Kindle Content Review team itself, so this is all just speculations. Our opinions on delisting titles without notifying us? The emails are mostly automated. In the latest case on the 11th, we think that for some reason, the books were left available, but only on the Japan store, the English version specifically. Because of that, they still show as live in our admin panel, but after calling up support, they looked into the backend and found that the content review team had sent a sales restriction flag. Since they are still technically on sale at the Japan store, I suspect the automated emails were not triggered, which is why we weren't notified. My opinions are that all of this is pointing to a content review team which has no consistent policies and are making arbitrary decisions with little or no human input. That would also explain why entire series were blocked this time while previous incidents were just single volumes. My hope is that once the virus situation is under proper control, Amazon will restaff or reconfigure the content review department to actually be able to do their job correctly, but my fear is that they will continue to rely on whatever systems they are currently, as it's likely cheaper and good enough for them and never fix these problems. I'm leaning towards agreeing. So, not only that, our print editions of, for example, How Not to Summon a Demon Lord are still for sale on Amazon. All this means is that it is not the result of some consistent policy being applied. It is the very definition of arbitrary and capricious. That also the content review teams for each language are separate, I believe, and it's quite possible that the Japanese Kindle store has a different policy and standard. We actually did try emailing Jeff at Amazon.com. By the way, for those of you who ever have an issue with Amazon, this is Jeff Bezos' personal email. So you can actually email Jeff Bezos if you have an issue with Amazon. And got a response. But it just ended up getting forwarded to the same Kindle content review email address and produced no different response than any of our other attempts. I believe the only people who would have any ability to help this problem would be level 7 senior managers at Kindle Content Review, or hire themselves, or someone at the director level or VP on the Kindle team. One of the people who promised to help with the level 7 senior manager at Kindle support, but even they seem powerless to affect anything at Kindle Content Review. On the other hand, all of our books are available on Bookwalker, Google Play Books, iBooks, Kobo, Nook, Overdrive for libraries, and of course directly on our own site at j-novelclub.club for members and premium members to purchase. These are the titles that are currently not available. Now here's what's concerning. First of all, I will say, I see a cover like that, and I am thinking I can see why this would probably get pulled. That girl looks a little young, to be blunt. But here's the bigger problem. Again, when there are other stores, you can buy these books if you want. But if Amazon takes you off their site, you could be losing up to 50% of the nation's book sales. You are missing exposure on a site that a lot of people, really more than almost everyone in the world, uses on a daily basis. It puts a book in a weird position, and you have to wonder what right does Amazon have, really, as the number one bookseller of the world, to decide what is and isn't appropriate? Let's put a little thought process. Let's put a little thought exercise, if you will. Let's say Amazon existed in the 50s, and Amazon sold more than half the books in the nation. But the nation was still super conservative, and there were still certain things that were a problem. Would Amazon be removing books like A Single Man, which was about a 50-year-old gay man who starts a relationship with a 20-year-old gay man? Would they remove books like Lolita, in which an adult man, falls in love with his stepdaughter, and there's a reason that book is controversial. It is not a defense of pedophilia, but it does look at the subject with frank brutality, if you will. What about The Catcher in the Rye? Super controversial book. It's still controversial because it's a book that basically connects with teenagers. And it's funny that book because teenagers read it and it's like, oh, a book gets me. This character understands that the world is phony, and as an adult you read it and it's like, this kid has a lot of learning to do. But would Amazon deem that book is not suitable for public consumption, and because it violates their policies, and they remove it? And yeah, you could buy it at other places, but they're the biggest one. I mean, they've already removed books like Animal Farm in 1984. Basically, George Orwell is blacklisted from Amazon. So when I read the story about this, even though I don't know what's in the books, to be frank, I don't know why they banned the books. I have issues with them banning the books, though. I do not think book burning is a good thing. And it's even more troubling because that's essentially what Amazon is doing, but they're using their protection like, well, we're the seller, we can sell whatever we choose to want, which they do have the right to, but once you have so much control of the market, it's like, well, but then this company is determining what the public reads. And it's kind of the same when Google decides, well, we're going to remove this website from a search engine. Yes, there are other search engines out there. There's Bing, and there's the Yahoo search engine, I believe, and there's DuckDuckGo. But the problem is those are not used nearly as much as Google. So if Google removes something, then Google has a sense removed it from the rest of the world. It's a very complicated topic, and it's one that we don't have time to... I mean, who knows? Maybe one day we'll do a complete 1-hour discussion. I don't know. But in the meantime, what about any of you? Have any of you read these books? Are you aware of this? What do you think of Amazon removing these titles from their store? I would love to know. comment below, like, favorite, share, subscribe, and as always, play responsibly.